Chapter 26, Irony. Irony is the expression of one's meaning by using language that normally signifies the opposite. Contrary to popular belief, the background info of an author plays an important part in his/her novel. As a result, you need to understand an author's background to get the irony in their work. Still not convinced? Let's take a look at Farewell to Arms by Hemingway. Farewell to Arms is about a lieutenant named Frederick Henry that deserts his post and gets to elope with his lover, Catherine. However, as Catherine gives birth, she dies along with the baby, and Frederick walks under the rain back home from the hospital. Now, there are two ironies at the final scene, the childbirth and the rain. In popular culture, rain can be seen as rejuvenation, rebirth, and hope. However, Hemingway isn't trying to convey that point. Frederick Henry just lost two of the people he loved most. There is nothing rejuvenating or happy about the rain that he's walking under. The second irony is in the childbirth. Many people see moms and their children as a communal, loving, inseparable relationship. But Hemingway, he's trying to say that mothers and their children are actually fighting each other for their lives, hence the death of both the mom and the baby. Now you're probably thinking, what the heck? How do you get those two ironies? Well, like we said earlier, you have to know the author's background. Let's take a look at Hemingway. Hemingway was part of the lost generation that grew up in World War I and World War II. Therefore, he has this very dull and sad look on life. In addition, his generation was also known for irony, so it's safe to say that we have to be looking for irony in his literary work. To sum up what we should learn from this Hemingway example, irony is a deflection from our expectations. Here are some tips for you to help spot irony. Dual awareness is when you read the text literally and inferentially. Kind of like staying objective and subjective at the same time. So you have to keep in mind what the author is really saying and what you're thinking, making sure not to mix the two up. Let's take a look at some examples to help see if we know what irony is. Ready to tackle a harder example? Let's look at The Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. The main character Alex is an irony himself. To understand this concept, we must look at Alex very closely. Alex is a murderer and rapist that lives in a dystopian world. He is ruthless and has absolutely no remorse whatsoever for his actions. He has a small band of followers, like Jesus. He was betrayed by one of these followers, like Jesus. He has spiritual autonomy relinquished, like Jesus. And he experiences a resurrection, like Jesus. Now, you're probably thinking, I know, the irony is that Alex is evil, but he's like Jesus himself. And this novel is a mocking of Christianity because of this irony. Well, I'm sorry, but you're wrong, and here's why. Recall that an author's background is key to his irony. Let's look at Anthony Burgess' background. He grew up writing a ton of books, all based on Catholicism. He himself was also a devout Catholic. So, why would he write something that slanders Christ himself? The Clockwork Orange actually addresses the irony of why God, the perfect being, must create a world where there's good and evil. To understand this irony, look at it this way. If you were inherently evil and you wanted to do evil things all the time, but there are no evil things for you to do, and the only thing you could do was good things, then how are you a good person just because you're doing good things but you wish to do evil? Still don't quite get irony? Let's look at a more familiar example, the awakening. Make sure to keep in mind that irony is the deflection of one's expectation. In case you forgot the plot, or never really read the book, here's a comic that introduces the plot points. Edna was a devoted wife. She took care of her children and her husband. However, when she meets Robert, she begins to doubt her societal role of being just a devoted wife. Edna experiences several awakenings in the book, which help her live more freely and independent from society's chains. At the very end of the book, Edna gets this one last ultimate super mega awakening that gives her the knowledge on how to live truly independent and free of society. Now, we expect her to live happily ever after because now she really knows how to live, but actually, she kills herself. Now, that is why Edna's death is irony. We expect her to live happy, but actually, she kills herself. Our expectation was deflected.
And the dream that you did to, oh why can't I?
Did you like the video? Leave your comments below and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Trees of green and red roses too.